Morning once again, one and all. So as far as the last lecture is concerned, so we have understand what is balancing, what is need of balancing, and then I have explained you the case number one, which is balancing of, I will write here, balancing of single rotating mass. Balancing of single rotating mass. So in that particular video, we have understand the case number one, that is a balancing of single rotating mass. And again, under this case number one, we have two subcases, subcase number one and subcase number two. And under this subcase number two, we have again two subcases, subcase number A and subcase number B. So this is what we have studied in the case number one, right? So I hope you have understand this. Exactly what is balancing, what is the need of balancing, and what is the unbalanced condition. So today, in this particular lecture, we will understand the case number two, that is balancing of several rotating masses. So in case number one, it was a single mass which was rotating on the axis of shaft. For example, if I consider this is a shaft, and as I said that shaft is connected in the bearings A and B, right? And let us say axis of rotation of the shaft is given by S dash. So this balancing mass, this disturbing mass M, let us say M1 is the disturbing mass. Okay, so disturbing mass is located at a distance r, that is the eccentric distance r from the axis of rotation. So this disturbing mass generates a disturbing force or unbalanced force called as a centrifugal force, let us say Fc1, which is equal to, let us say this is R1, M1 R1 omega square. So for balancing, what we did, we just added one another mass in the same plane called as a M2 at a distance R2. So it generated a force called as a Fc2, which is equal to M2 R2 into omega square. So this is called as a balancing of a single rotating mass. So in the subcase number one, and in subcase number two, we have added two different masses in two different planes, let us say M1 and M2. Okay, so this was the case number one. But here in the case number two, let us consider any number of masses. Let us say we will take some count, that is let us say 4, having magnitude M1, M2, M3 and M4 attached to a shaft at a distance R1, R2, R3 and R4 from the axis of rotation of the shaft. Is it clear? So instead of considering a single mass M1, I have considered 4 masses, that is more than 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, depending upon the application. At a distance R1, R2, R3, R4, this is nothing but the eccentric distance, or you can also call this R1, R2, R3 and R4 as a radii of rotation of the masses M1, M2, M3 and M4 from the axis of rotation of the shaft, right? So this particular masses M1, M2, M3 and M4 will generate an unbalanced force or centrifugal force called as Fc1, Fc2, Fc3 and Fc4. Okay, now your task is to balance this particular system. Means what? You have to attach a balancing mass to this. Means what? So that this corresponding system which is unbalanced will get balanced, right? So for that, what is the procedure? The procedure for the case number one we'll understand in this particular lecture. Okay, so now let us consider that theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 and theta 4 are the angles of these masses with the horizontal line OH. Let us say that this is a horizontal line OH. So from horizontal line, let us say mass M1 is at an angle theta 1. From horizontal line OH, let us say this mass M2 is at an angle theta 2. And let us say this mass M3 is an angle theta 3. Okay, and let us say this mass M4 is at an angle theta 4, right? And the very important criteria is that all should be measured in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so I am measuring the angles in the anti-clockwise direction from this horizontal line OH. This is the step number one. Okay, now let us understand that mass rotates about an axis through O at an angular velocity omega radian per second, and that is constant, right? So we are assuming that omega radian per second is the constant angular velocity. Okay, now so balancing of a several rotating masses in the same plane. So in this, for this particular case number two, that is balancing of its several rotating masses. Again, we have two subcases. What are the two subcases? The case number A is balancing of its several masses rotating in the same plane, and the case number B, we will study balancing of several masses rotating in the different plane, right? In the different planes. So again, as I said that in case number 1 there were two subcases, and in case number 2 again there are two different subcases. So in today's lecture we will concentrate only on the balancing of several rotating masses in the same plane, and balancing of several masses rotating in the different planes we will understand in the next video lecture. Okay, so what is the step for this particular case number A? So basically there are two methods. The first is a graphical method and second is the analytical method. Okay, so we'll understand both the methods. So first we will understand the graphical method. So for graphical method, what is the step number 1? The first step is to draw the space diagram, right? You have to draw the space diagram, right? So for drawing the space diagram, you will require some instruments. For example, you will require the scale, you will require the protractors, as well as you will require the compass, right? So by using this instrument, you have to first of all draw the space diagram. Okay. Next is what? After drawing the space diagram, you have to calculate all the centrifugal force exerted by individual masses on the rotating shaft. See, I am repeating the dialogue. You have to calculate all the centrifugal force exerted by individual masses on rotating shaft. Means you have to calculate Fc1, Fc2, Fc3 and Fc4. You have to calculate all the centrifugal forces exerted by respective individual masses. To make it simple, Fc1 is nothing but a centrifugal force of mass m1, Fc2 is nothing but a centrifugal force of mass m2, Fc3 m3 and Fc4 is m4. How will you calculate this Fc? Fc is nothing but the mr into omega square. I hope you understand this. And once you have calculated this, the third step is to draw the vector diagram, right? So again, by using the compass and the scales and the pencils, you have to draw the vector diagram. So in vector diagram, basically we have two figures. The first is called as a force polygon. So in the mechanics, you might engineering mechanics, you have studied already this. What is force polygon and what is couple polygon, right? Couple polygon. So I hope you have understand this. So we have to draw force polygon as well as the couple polygon in the vector diagram. And once you get a vector diagram, the final step is to calculate. Calculate is not the right word. I will write compute. So you have to compute. So compute the balancing mass and the balancing angle. So let us say balancing mass is m and balancing angle is theta. What is balancing angle? The angle at which the balancing mass m1 is located from this horizontal axis OX. I hope you have understand this. Okay. So this is the graphical step. Analytical step I will understand later on. So now let us understand this more into the detail. So let us say that this is point O. This is point O, and let us say this is point X. So I have drawn this line OX. As I said that, so line OX is nothing but a horizontal line from which we will measure the angle in anti-clockwise direction. This dialogue is very, very important. Okay. So let us say M1 is the first mass having radius R1, or you can also call it as a R1 is nothing but an eccentric distance from the center of rotation, that is the axis of rotation of shaft, or you can also call it as the radius of rotation of mass M1 from the axis of rotation of the shaft. Try to understand this. And let us say theta1 is the angle measured in anti-clockwise direction from this horizontal line OX. Is it clear? Okay. Let us say M2 is the mass, second mass, which is located at a distance R2 from the shaft, that is the axis of shaft, at an angle theta2 measured from this line OX in the anti-clockwise direction. Again, let us say M3 is located at a distance R3 from the axis of rotation of the shaft and at an angle theta3 from the OX. So try to understand that I am not considering the angle between the M1 and M2, M1 and M2 and M2 and M3. I am considering all the angles from the horizontal line OX. This is the procedure. Okay. And next, last one is nothing but the M4, which is located at a distance R4 at a distance theta4. Right? So this is the first step. Now what is the second step in this? balancing of a several masses rotating in the same plane. This is very, very important. I am trying to balance the several masses which are rotating in the same plane, not in a different planes, right? This is very, very important diagram. Okay. So let us say this is O and let us see. Now what is the next step? You have to calculate the centrifugal force. So before you calculate the centrifugal force, first of all, locate this point O. Locate this point O on the paper. Just mark the point O. This is the first step. Once you mark the point O, then calculate this Fc1. What is Fc1? Fc1 is nothing but the centrifugal force exerted by this mass m1 from the CG of this mass, from the center of gravity of this mass. And what is Fc1? m1r1 omega square. So you calculate it, then you take some scale. For example, how you will take scale? Let us say I am taking m1 is equal to 1 kg meter, because this centrifugal force will be in the kg meter. No? So let us say I am taking 1 mm is equal to 1 kg meter. So you can take any scale depending upon your choice. Okay. So once you take the scale, let us say you will get some value of this Fc1, let us say 45 mm. Okay. So with the scale, help of a scale, what you will do, you will take a roller, or you can also take a set squares. You can use set squares or a roller, any instrument you can use, and draw a line parallel to this O. Draw a line parallel to this O and this M1. So let us say this is a line OM1. So what you have to do, you have to draw the line O and M1 parallel to this and mark this as a OA. So this vector OA represents, and what will be the length of vector OA? The length of the vector will be 45 mm. We will solve the problem on this so you will understand better. So let us say the length of the vector OA is 45 mm and it is parallel to OM1. So this OA is parallel to this OM1, and this OM1 is nothing but the mass M1 which is located at an angle θ1. I hope you understand this. Okay. So similarly, again you have to draw a line parallel to OM2. This is OM2. Then you have to draw a line parallel to OM3 and line parallel to OM4 with some scale. Okay. So that you will understand. So similarly, let us say OA is the vector which represents, what does this vector OA represent? This vector OA represents the centrifugal force Fc1, and try to understand that this centrifugal force is nothing but the unbalanced force which is generated due to the unbalanced condition. What is unbalanced condition? Whenever you are mounting a rotating mass on a shaft which is rotating at some angular speed, and there is an eccentricity between the center of gravity of the mass and the axis of rotation of the shaft, the unbalanced condition is created, and due to this unbalanced condition, the centrifugal force is generated, and that centrifugal force is represented by Fc1 for the individual mass m1. I hope you have understood this. Okay. So OA is nothing but the, I have drawn this parallel to OM1. Okay. Next, draw a line. Now next you calculate Hc2. Calculate Hc2, which is equal to m2r2 omega square. Then draw a line OB. Sorry, draw a vector OB which is parallel to OM2, which is parallel to OM2, right? And see, now I am drawing a force polygon, and as we have studied in the engineering mechanics, the force polygon should be continuous. So once you start from the O, ends at the A, then again it will start at the end, and then it will end at the B. So it should be continuous, right? It should have a continuous flow. Then next, calculate Fc3. What is Fc3? m3r3 into omega square. Draw a line parallel to, draw a vector BC parallel to line OM3. So line parallel to OM3 will give the vector BC, which will indicate the centrifugal force exerted by the mass M3, that is Fc3. Okay. Then draw a line, calculate Fc4, m4r4 omega square, and then draw a vector CD which is parallel to OM4. So what is the first step? You have to draw the space diagram. So once you draw the space diagram at some specific angle, see space diagram, you have to locate this particular masses at specific angle which is given, that is a θ1, θ2, θ3, and then you will draw this vector diagram parallel to the space diagram. So this vector diagram is parallel to the space diagram, and the length of the vector OA, AB, BC and BD are calculated from this Fc1, Fc2, Fc3 by taking some suitable scale. At the time of the example, you will understand this. Okay. Now, what is remaining? Now, all the masses are finished. Okay, now we have to close this force polygon, right? So let us say close. So how will you close? You have to always start from this point O, that is the starting point, and what is the ending point? AD. So join this line OD with the help of a dotted line and mark the arrow like this. In which direction? From O to D. So what is this O to D? O to D represents the closing side of the force polygon. Try to understand this. This OD is equal to closing side of the force polygon. And this closing side of the force polygon represents, what does it represent? It represents the resultant centrifugal force. This vector OD, I will write here, vector OD represents the resultant centrifugal force, right? It represents the resultant centrifugal force. Now you have to calculate this. So how will you calculate this? It is very, very simple. Now you can measure this OD. Let us say you are measuring this vector OD and let us say it is 25 mm. After measurement, then you multiply it with the scale, and from this, what you will get? You will get the resultant force. What you will get? You will get the resultant force, that is Fc. And this Fc is nothing but the resultant force of Fc1, Fc2, Fc3 and Fc4, right? And once you get Fc, now we have to calculate a balancing force. Now try to understand the statement. The balancing force is equal to the resultant but opposite in direction. So this is the resultant force, let us say Fc. So balancing force is same as the Fc but in opposite direction. Okay, and once you calculate the balancing force, which is opposite to this resultant force but equal, you will get a balancing mass. And this balancing mass is located at an angle theta, which is called as the balancing angle. And theta r is nothing but the resultant angle. Okay, so first you have to calculate the resultant centrifugal force and resultant angle, and from this you will get the balancing force Fc and the resultant angle theta. Okay, so this we will understand while solving the problem. I hope you understand this. So what is this Fc? So this Fc is nothing but the resultant balancing force, for the resultant force, and Fc is equal to mr omega square is nothing but the magnitude of the resultant force. And so from this polygon, I am getting the magnitude of this resultant force as well as the direction of this resultant force. What is the direction? Direction is given by vector OD bar. So vector OD bar represents the direction of resultant, and Fc is equal to mr omega square represents the magnitude. Okay. Now this we will draw in the space diagram. So in the space diagram, what we will do? Draw a line parallel to this vector OD bar. Okay. Now we will go reverse. You have to draw a line parallel to vector OD bar from this point O, and what you will get? You will get this resultant force in this space diagram, and this Fc is nothing but a resultant. And what you have to do? You have to just plot the balancing force opposite to this Fc. So how I will plot? Like this. So this m into r, this m represents the balancing mass. This m represents the balancing mass at a distance r. Okay. And what is the balancing force? Balancing force is equal to m into r. And what is the resultant force? M into r. So try to understand that the resultant force and the balancing force are one and the same, but just they are equal and opposite. And what is the angle? So this angle, see, which angle? Angle from the line O to X measured in the anti-clockwise direction. So I will start from here, and this angle is nothing but a theta. So this m is nothing but the balancing mass, which is located at an angle theta, which is called the balancing angle, from the horizontal line OX measured in anti-clockwise direction. Now this completes my figure. Okay. So this is the procedure to balance the several masses rotating in the same plane. I hope you have understood this. Okay. So now again, balancing of a several masses rotating in the same plane. Let us understand the analytical method. So in the analytical method, normally no need to draw the space diagram, but just for your reference, I have plotted the space diagram here. So how to? So again, I will get the same angle, same balancing mass, and same angle theta. Just the process is different in case of the analytical method. So let us understand. Now this is the space diagram. which I have already drawn in the last case, in the graphical case, which we have already understood. So with the help of a protractor, you directly can draw this phase diagram by locating angle theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4, locating the mass m1, m2, m3 and m4 from this distance O into A, from this line OH. Okay. Now what is the first step? In analytical method, first of all you have to find out the centrifugal force exerted by each mass on the rotating shaft. Means what you have to calculate? You have to calculate Fc. Fc1 is equal to m into r omega square. Then calculate Fc2 m into r m1, sorry, m1 r1, m2 r2 omega square. Then calculate Fc3 is equal to m3 r3 omega square. And calculate Fc4 is equal to m4 r4 omega square. Now guys, try to understand that omega square is constant in all the case. So you can cancel out omega n and you can take centrifugal phase only as mr. So I can write Fc1 is equal to m1 r1, Fc2 is equal to m2 r2, Fc3 is equal to m3 r3, and Fc4 is equal to m4 r2. Okay, is it clear? I hope you understand this. So this is the first step. Then you have to resolve the centrifugal forces horizontally and vertically. Resolving the centrifugal forces horizontally and vertically means what? Let us say this is, I will draw here. Let us say this is the centrifugal force Fc1. So what will be the horizontal and vertical component? Let us say this is a horizontal component, vertical component, and this is a horizontal component. Okay. So what is this horizontal component? This horizontal component will be Fc1 into cos theta 1, and what will be this vertical component? Fc1 into sin theta 1. Similarly, for m2 you will have Fc2 into sin theta 2 and Fc2 into sin cos theta 2. Okay. So similarly, you have to resolve these centrifugal forces Fc1 into sin theta 1 and cos theta 1. Right. So this is the next step. So you have to resolve this. Then you have to find summation of fx and summation of fy. So what is summation of fx? Summation of fx is nothing but a summation of h. So even if you are not drawing this phase diagram, that is okay. You can directly write this as m1 r1. So what is fc1? m1 r1. So m1 r1 cos theta 1 plus m2 r2 cos theta 2, so and so. You can directly write this. And what is summation of fy? Summation of fy is nothing but a summation of v. You can directly write m1 r1 sin theta 1 plus m2 r2 sin theta 2, so and so. So even if without drawing a space diagram, you can directly write this formula as m1 r1 cos theta 1 depending upon how many masses you have and how many centrifugal force you have. Okay. So this is the first step. Third step. Then find the resultant. What is resultant? Resultant is given by square root of summation of fx square plus summation of fy square. Okay. This is the resultant. Once you find the resultant, then you can find out the angle theta made by the resultant with the axis. So how will you find this? This angle, resultant angle theta r is equal to tan inverse of, how will you find? Resultant angle theta is equal to tan inverse of summation of fy upon summation of fx, right? So from this I will get the resultant angle theta. So once you get the resultant angle theta r, so this theta r plus 180 degree will be equal to the theta. So this is nothing but a balancing mass. Okay. So what is this theta? Theta is nothing but a balancing mass, which is equal to 1 plus 180 degree. And how will you get this balancing mass? Now once you find out this Fc, we know that Fc is equal to m into r, right? Where m is nothing but a balancing mass, r is nothing but a radius of rotation of balancing mass. So from this I will get, we already know Fc, from this I will get m, or if you know m, you will get r. So this is how you have to solve this analytically. Okay, and again the balancing force is the resultant force, but in opposite direction. So this resultant force what you are getting is equal to the balancing force Fb, but in opposite direction. That you have to remember. So I hope you have understand this. So you can message me yes or no if you have understand this. So I can move on to the next point. So this is nothing but a resultant Fc, and this is nothing but a balancing mass. Okay, at a distance r. So try to understand that this whatever you are getting Fc, that is nothing but a resultant force, and opposite to the resultant force but same magnitude is nothing but the balancing force. And from balancing force Fc, you will get this balancing mass M, that is Fc is equal to M into R, and normally R is given. And if R is not given, you can assume it suitably depending upon the problem statement. Okay. And then what is the theta? Theta is nothing but the angle, that is a balancing angle which is measured from this OX, measured from this OX up to here. Okay. So in both the cases you will get the same answer, but one is a graphical method, one is an analytical method. So now I will solve the problem number 1. On case number 1, that is the balancing of a several rotating masses in a single plane by both the methods. Okay. So let's solve. What is been given? Let us solve the problem. Four masses M1, M2, M3 and M4 are 200 kg, 300 kg, 240 kg and 260 kg respectively. So just write here M1 is equal to, I will take on to the left side, solution. So what is given? M1 is equal to 200 kg, M2 is equal to, right below it, always write below it, M2 is equal to 300 kg, M3 is equal to 240 kg and M4 they have given us 260 kg. Okay. So now corresponding radius of rotation, the corresponding radius of rotation R. So they have given R1 is equal to 0.2 meter, R2 is equal to 0.15 meter. So see, mass should be in kg, radius of rotation should be in meter. They have given R3 is equal to 0.25 meter and R4 they have given as, what is they have given? 0.3 meter. Okay. Now let us find out the angle. Now they have given the angle between the successive masses are 45 degrees. Successive masses means what? They have given the angle between the theta 1 and theta 2. Okay. See here. I will go here. What they have given? Angle between the mass M1 and M2. Angle between the mass M1 and M2 they have given. So they have given theta 2. Then they have given angle between the M2 and M3. So they have given theta 3. Okay. So they have given, sorry, not theta 3 and not theta 2. They have given the angle between the masses M1 and M2. Try to understand this. Okay. So they have given the angle between the M1 and M2. So how will you proceed here? Angle between the two successive masses are 45 degrees, 75 degrees and 180 degrees. So before starting, we'll assume that theta 1 is equal to 0. Means what? Assuming theta 1 is equal to 0 means what? This is very, very important. Assume mass M1 as horizontal. So what you have to assume? You have to assume that this mass M1, instead of locating at theta 1, it is located on this horizontal axis OX. Mass M1 is located on the horizontal axis OX. So means what? This theta 1 is equal to 0 degree I have assumed. Okay? To start the initial problem. So assuming theta 1 is equal to 0 degree, then they are saying that this angle between the two successive masses, that is 45 degree, means what? They have given this angle theta 2, that is angle between the M1 and M2, they have given as 45 degree. Okay. So now what is this theta 2? Theta 2 is nothing but the angle from this horizontal axis. Now this angle theta 1 is already 0 degree. So this theta 2 will be 0 degree plus 45 degree. Right? So that is equal to 45 degree. I hope you understand this. Okay. So similarly, you have to go on adding. So what is this theta 2? Theta 2 is equal to 0 degree plus 45 degree, because we have to measure from the horizontal axis now. And I have assumed that mass M1 is on the horizontal axis only. So this theta 2 is equal to 45 degree. Now what is theta 3? Now they have given next successive angle is 75 degree. 75 degree means what? They have given the angle between the M2 and M3 is 75 degree. And what is this angle? This total angle is nothing but the 45 degree. So what is the total angle theta 3? Total angle theta 3, 45 plus 75 degree. Okay. So I am getting it as a 45 degree plus 75 degrees, nothing but a theta 3, because I have to measure it from the horizontal axis. Try to understand. So my theta 3 is nothing but a 120 degree. And similarly, what is theta 4? Theta 4 is nothing but they have given 135 degree the successive angle. Successive angle means what? Now they have given the angle between the M3 and M4 as 135 degree. And what is this total angle now? This total angle is nothing but 120 degree. Already we have done this. Okay. I hope you have understood. This total angle is 120 degree plus 135 degree. So this total angle is equal to 255 degree. Now message me yes or no if you have understand this location of angle. I have assumed angle theta 1 is a 0 and then I have calculated theta 2, theta 3 and theta 4. Okay. So this is the first step which you have to understand. Now next step. Well, let us say that how many angles we have, masses we have M1, M2 and M3. So they have asked you to find the position, means you have to find out the theta and the magnitude of the balancing mass required if its radius of rotation is 0.2. So let us say that M is equal to balancing mass. Okay. Let us say that M is equal to balancing mass. Okay, which you have to find out, balancing mass. Then you have to find out the theta. What is theta? Theta is nothing but a balancing angle. Balancing angle means angle which I will write here, angle which balancing mass makes with respect to what? With respect to horizontal axis OX, right? The angle made by the balancing mass with respect to the horizontal axis OX is nothing but a theta, that is a balancing angle, and R is nothing but the radius of rotation of balancing mass. The radius of rotation of balancing mass they have given as 0.2 meter. So now my aim is to find out M and theta. So this you can find graphically as well as analytically. So first I will explain the graphical method. So method number 1 is graphical method. Okay, so let us. So what is the first step in the graphical method? The first step is to draw the space diagram. Okay, so let us draw the first of all space diagram. And once you draw the space diagram, what is the next step? Draw force polygon or draw a vector diagram. So in this particular, try to understand that in a balancing of several masses rotating in the same plane, there will be no couple acting, or there will be no couple due to the generated due to the unbalanced force. So no need to draw the couple polygon. Here I have to draw only a force polygon. Okay. So in the next case, that is a balancing of a several masses rotating in different planes, there will be couple generated. So you have to do the complete balancing. That is a dynamic balancing. Here only the force polygon is sufficient. Okay. So let us draw the space diagram. So how will you draw the space diagram? First of all, locate this point O. Locate the point O somewhere here, and from the point O, with the help of a scale, no need to take measure. Okay, while drawing a space diagram, no need to take a measure of the you can say the line. You can take random measure. Okay, so this is nothing but O, and this represents the OX line, and on OX line, what I've said that I am keeping this M1 as a horizontal because we have to start somewhere, na? So to start with, what I will do, I will keep this M1 on a horizontal, means what theta is equal to 0. Now, with the help of a protractor, you mark the angle. What is angle theta 2? Angle theta 2 is nothing but, what is angle theta 2? 45 degree. So at 45 degree, you mark the M2. Mark M2 at 45 degree. So from OX. So this is nothing but a theta 2. Okay, don't write 45 degree in this space diagram. You have to just write theta 2 because we have already mentioned theta 2 is equal to 45 degree. Okay, now what is the next angle? What is the next angle? Theta 3. So mass M3 is at an angle theta 3 which is 120 degree. So 120 degree means what? Will come. So this you have to do it with the help of a protractor. Huh? You have to take the accurate angles. Otherwise you cannot draw the parallel lines. So let us say now this is M3. Now M3 is located at what angle? Theta 3 angle. Okay. I will just change the color pins here. Let me change the color pins so you will understand better. Let us say this is theta 1 and let us say this is theta 2. Okay. Now what is the next angle? M4 is located at the angle theta 4 which is 255 degree. So 255 degree means what? It will come somewhere here. Okay, so this is how I have drawn the space angle. So you have to draw it on your own, practice at your home. M4. And now what is the angle? What is this angle? What is this angle? This angle is nothing but a theta 4. So already you have to measure this angle theta 1, theta 2 and theta 4 with the help of a protractor and then draw the space diagram. Okay, you have to draw the space diagram. No need to take the measure or length of this OM2, OM1 or OM3 or OM4. You have to just measure the angle and draw the space diagram. Now once you draw the space diagram, what is the next step? The next step is to draw the vector diagram, that is the force polygon. Now, to draw the force polygon, first of all you have to assume some scale. So let us say that I am assuming the scale is equal to, before assuming the scale, we have to first of all calculate all the centrifugal forces. You have to calculate all the centrifugal forces. So how will you calculate all the centrifugal forces? So you can calculate here itself. Okay. So I will rub this all the stuffs. And first of all I will calculate. So before drawing the space diagram or after drawing the space diagram, as per your choice, you have to first of all calculate all the centrifugal force. So centrifugal force, let us say Fc1 is equal to what? M1 R1. So what is M1? M1 is equal to 200 into R1 is 0.2. So I am getting it as a 40 kg meter. Right? Then draw Fc2. What is Fc2? Fc2 is nothing but the M2 R2. What is Fc2? 300 into 0.15. So I am getting it as a 45 kg per meter. And then I am getting Fc3 is equal to M3 R3. So that is equal to 240 into 0.25. So after calculation I am getting it as a 60 kg per meter. And then calculate Fc4, which is equal to, actually the formula is M1 R1 omega square, but omega is constant, na? As I have said earlier. So no need to consider omega. So what is this? M4 R4. So that is equal to 260 multiplied by 0.3. So we are getting 78 kg per meter. So now we have calculated all 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we have calculated all the centrifugal force. So now you can take a scale. So what scale you will take? So assuming right at the top corner, assume scale. What scale I am assuming? 1 mm. So now that's your choice how to take a suitable scale. So I am taking a scale as 1 mm is equal to, let us say 1 kg meter. Okay, because that is sufficient. So 1 mm is equal to 1 kg meter means what? This 40 kg meter will give you the 40 mm. 45 kg meter will give you the 45 mm. And 60 kg meter will give you the 60 mm. And 78 kg meter means 78 mm, that is 7.8 centimeter. So 7.8 centimeter line is sufficient. You can draw on your page. Okay. So you have to select the suitable scale. This is very, very important. Okay. So now, what is the first step? First step is to draw a vector. So let us say, first of all, I will locate this point A. And from this point A, a line parallel to OM1. Line parallel to means this line OM1. So line parallel to OM1, I will draw the vector AB. And this vector AB represents, this is the arrow, it represents the Fc1. Now what is Fc1? I have calculated. Fc1 is equal to 40 kg per meter. Right? And what is the scale? 1 mm is equal to 1 kg meter. So what is the length AB? Length AB, try to understand that this length AB will be equal to 40 kg meter divided by 40 kg meter means what? 1 mm is equal to 1 kg meter. So that will become 40 mm. Right? So you have to draw the line AB of what length? Of 4 centimeter with your scale. So it is very, very scale and parallel to OM1. Parallel to OM1, you have to draw the vector AB equal to length 4 centimeter. Please message me, yes, if you have understand this, how to draw the vector diagram and how to take the length. Okay, just message me. Okay, so now next, then draw a line parallel to this OM2. Draw a line parallel to this OM2. So now what is OM2? OM2 represents the centrifugal force Fc2. Now what is Fc2? 45 kg meter. What is the scale? 1 mm. So what is the length? 45 mm means 4.5 centimeter. So then what we will do, draw a line, draw a vector BC, draw a vector BC. Now this BC represents FC2. It represents the centimeter, because this is a force polygon, so it will represent a FC2. So this BC is nothing but a vector which represents a mass M2 or force FC2 generated by the mass M2, and it is parallel. I have drawn it parallel to the OM2, right? And this length of BC is nothing but a 4.5 centimeter, calculated from the scale. Next you have to draw a line parallel to this OM3. Parallel to this OM3 means this line. Okay. And what is the length here? Length is 60 kg meter, means 60 mm, means 6 centimeter. So I will draw this parallel like this. So I am getting somewhere like this. Okay. So this vector 3D represents FC3 equal to 6 centimeter. Okay. I hope you understand this. Now next, draw a line parallel to this M4, OM4, and it represents the FC4, which is equal to 78 kg meter, means what? 78 mm means 7.8 centimeter. So parallel to this, somewhere like this. Okay. Now this vector DE, see the arrow, this vector DE represents the force FC4. Okay. Now we have to close the polygon. So as I said that the closing side of the polygon is nothing but the resultant force, and resultant force should always start from the starting point. So what is the starting point? The starting point is nothing but A. Okay. So let me join this by a dotted line. Okay. So this AE, vector AE represents the resultant. So this vector AE bar represents the resultant force FC. What it represents? The resultant force FC. Okay. See, this FC is not a balancing force. This FC is a resultant force. Try to understand this. Okay. And now I will locate the resulting angle. What is the resultant angle? The resultant angle should be always located from the horizontal line. That is the first line. So see the arrow how I am locating. So this resultant angle is nothing but a theta r. So this theta r is nothing but the resultant angle. I hope you understand this. So now I have got this resultant angle and the resultant force. Now you know that the balancing force is equal to this resulting force Fc, but opposite in direction. And the balancing angle is nothing but this resultant force theta r plus 180 degree, or you can directly measure from the point E. So how to measure that I will explain. So first of all, let us calculate. Now with the help of your scale, measure this vector AE bar. Okay. So measure the vector AE bar. So after measuring, let us say I am getting vector AE bar is equal to, so this is the diagram which we have drawn already with the help of a scale. Now, so once you measure this AE, you will get some length. And what length you are getting? I am getting, let us say 23 mm. You might get 24 mm or you might get 22 mm. So that plus minus 1 mm or plus minus 1.5 mm or plus minus 2 mm, that difference is, that tolerance is okay. But it should not be 20 mm, it should not be 25 mm or 30 mm. Okay, the answer should be close to the 23 mm. So that depends upon how accurately you are drawing the parallel lines and how accurately you are plotting the angles. So now measuring, I am getting vector A bar is equal to 20 mm. Okay. So now what is the balancing force? So first of all, find out the resultant force. So resultant force is equal to vector, how to calculate this? Vector AE bar multiply by scale. Okay, you are getting a resultant force Fc. What is this Fc? Fc is nothing but a resultant force. So I am getting that answer as, what is vector AE bar after measuring 23 mm multiply by, what is the scale? 1 kg meter. Okay, so I am getting this resultant force FCR is equal to 23 kg meter. 23 kg meter. Okay. Now what is balancing force? Balancing force will be equal to the resultant force, but in opposite direction. Very, very important. But in opposite direction. So balancing force will be equal to same, that is 23 kg meter, but in opposite direction. So on the space diagram, you have to locate this resultant force, and opposite to the resultant force, locate the balancing force. Okay. So now what is this balancing force? Balancing force is nothing but the Fc. And what is Fc? Fc is equal to m into r. So m into r is equal to 23 kg per meter. So m is equal to 23 divided by what is r? 0.2 they have given. So I am getting a balancing mass m is equal to 115 kg. Let's try to understand this. Okay, I hope you have understand this. So for Fc is nothing but a m into r, which is a resultant balancing force. R is given 23 kg per meter. We have already measured by multiplying with the scale. So from this I am getting a m, which is equal to 115 kg, which is nothing but a balancing mass. Okay. Now what you do? Measure this angle theta 3. How will you measure? You will measure this angle theta r in the anti-clockwise direction from the AB. So after measuring, let us say I am getting theta r is equal to 23 degree. Theta r is equal to 23 degree. Have you measured this? Okay. So now what you will do? Once you measure this, what I will get? I will get a balancing angle. So theta, that is equal to balancing angle, is nothing but the resultant angle plus 180 degree. Why I am doing a 180 degree? I will show you on the plot. So my angle is 2233 degree. So I will show you exactly how it looks. So basically, try to understand that this vector AE bar is a resultant force. So what will be the balancing force? Balancing force will be equal and opposite direction. No? So what will be the balancing force? Balancing force will be E into A bar. So AE bar is nothing but a resultant force. So EA bar is nothing but a balancing force. So you have to just change the arrow. Okay. So obviously you have to measure the angle from the horizontal line passing through this point O. So let us say this is the horizontal line. Let me call this as a horizontal line passing through this A. So how will you measure the angle? This angle, balancing angle, is nothing but measured from this horizontal line like this up to this EA bar. So this is nothing but the theta. So this theta is, let us say, 20 degree. So if I add 180 degree to it, what I will get? I will get theta. Or even if you measure this angle theta from this horizontal line up to this EA bar, you will get same answer. But it is difficult to measure the angle theta. So it is very easy to measure this angle theta and add 180 degree. So I hope what is the theta? That is a balancing angle. So balancing angle is nothing but the theta, which is measured from this line EA bar. Okay. So I hope you have understand this. Is it clear? So now I am getting theta is equal to 200 degree. So this is nothing but my final answer. That is a balancing mass, and this is nothing but my angle theta, which is also called as a balancing angle. The angle, what is a balancing angle? Balancing angle is the angle. Balancing angle is the angle which is made with the horizontal axis, right? So I have shown here. So this theta is nothing but the balancing angle. Okay, is it clear? So I hope you have understand this. So now, similarly, we have to also solve this problem by using an analytical method. Okay. So for analytical method, again, it is very simple. So within 5 minutes, we will understand how to solve the same problem by analytical method. Okay. So let us understand this analytical method. So what is analytical method? So first of all, try to understand how many masses we have. M1, M2, M3 and mass M4. So how many centrifugal force we have? Fc1, Fc2, Fc3, Fc4. So you have to first of all resolve this centrifugal force. So again, no need to resolve also. You can directly write down. See, it is very easy to solve by analytical method. So first of all, find out summation H. What is summation H? M1 R1 cos theta 1, right? Because we have 4 masses, na? And 4 centrifugal force. Okay, and then M2 R2 cos theta 2 plus M3 R3 cos theta 3. Okay, right? And similarly plus M4 R4 cos theta 4. Okay, so use this. Now we know that what is M1 R1? M1 R1 I have already calculated. What is M1 R1? 40 kg per meter. And what is theta 1? 0 degree. What is M1 M2 R2? 45 kg meter. And what is theta 2? 45 degree. Same you have to use here. Okay, same you have to use here. So from this I will get M1 R1 is equal to 40 into cos 0 plus what is M2 R2? 45 into cos 45 plus, this is very easy. Try to understand that balancing of solving a problem by using an analytical method for this case number one is very easy as compared to the graphical method. Okay, so cos 45 degree plus m2 m3 r3. What is m3 r3? 60 into cos, what is theta 3? 120 degree plus what is m4 r4? 78 into cos 255 degrees. So put into the calc, we are getting summation h is equal to 21.6 kg meters, right? We are getting this 21.6, a summation of horizontal forces. Is it okay? Similarly, summation of vertical forces, m1 r1 sin theta 1 plus m2 r2. Why I am taking only 4? Because there are 4 masses only, plus m3 r3 sin theta 3 plus m3 r4 sin theta 4. Okay, so put all the values and you are getting this answer as 8.5 kg meter. So put all the values as usual and then find the resultant FC. Find out the resultant FC. What is the resultant FC? Square root of summation of h square plus summation of v square. So from this you are getting the resultant centrifugal force FC is equal to, I am getting it as a 23.2 kg meter. See, after measurement, what was the answer? After measurement, what was the answer by graphical method? See here. By graphical method, the answer was 23, and by analytical method, my answer is, what is my answer? 23.2. So it is close. Okay. Now we know that balancing force Fc is also equal to 23.2 kg meter, but in opposite direction. Okay. Now what is balancing force? Balancing force Fc into B is equal to m into r. Okay. So therefore I can write this m into r is equal to, what is this answer? 23.2. So m is equal to 23.2 divided by 0.2. R is given. Na? So see what answer you are getting. You are getting 116 kg. So by graphical method, I have got 115 kg. Here I am getting 116 kg. So that is okay. And now theta. First of all, let us find out the angle theta r. What is angle theta r? Tan inverse of summation of b upon summation of h is equal to, again you are getting the angle same, that is 21.48 degree, right? Summation of b and summation of h. Okay. So now what is the theta? Theta is nothing but balancing angle, which is equal to theta r plus 180 degree. So this is equal to 201.48 degree. Okay. So by graphical method, I am getting 203 degree. By analytical method, I am getting, so it's one and the same. So this is how you have to solve the problem on balancing of a several masses rotating in the same plane by using analytical method and this method. Okay. So thank you so much. I hope you have understand this. Is it okay? And then finally, once you calculate this, you have to plot here. Now this is very important last step. So how will you plot here? Okay. What is the balancing mass? What is the balancing mass? 115 kg. At what angle? At 280 angle. So okay. So it will come slightly here. So let us say this is the, okay. Let us say, sorry. First of all, I have to draw the resultant force. First of all, draw the resultant force. So what is resultant force? Resultant force is nothing but this, shown by this. What is this? This is Fr. Means what? Resultant force. This is at an angle theta r. Okay. What is resultant force? I have got resultant force is nothing but the 23 kg. And what is the mass? I have got balancing mass 115 kg. Okay. So first of all, locate Fr at an angle theta r. Okay. Now, as I said that the balancing force is opposite to this. Opposite to this means what? Draw a line opposite to this. Now this is nothing but the mass m, which is equal to 115 kg. So you know that, and this indicates FCB, that is a balancing force. So this balancing force is opposite to this Fr, and on the balancing force, show this mass m1. So this mass m1 is nothing but the balancing mass which will balance this system having m1, m2, and m3. Okay, and locate the angle. What is the angle? Angle from this horizontal line up to this is nothing but the theta, which is equal to 203 degree. Okay, so this is how you have to solve the problems. I hope you have